So that, there's a big stigma, a big thing going around. You got the protein camp and then the non-protein camp where you can make protein from broccoli. If you want to look at the vegan promoters out there, I'll make your own assessment.
I love how you went to, Pearl. People can make protein out of broccoli. Like, I would have had that embroidered, I would have sat on the couch making that and then put that in my kitchen. The proof was in the pudding. I worked out. I did hours of exercise. I don't do hours every day now, but I did hours back then. And I'm telling you, none of my greens built. I ate my muscle off my body. I mean, I believed it, but that belief didn't do anything to what was actually happening in my body. I turned clean meat eating, concentrated on protein, changed the style of my exercise, yes. And it wasn't until I started really concentrating on protein and animal protein that I really built.
Yeah, you eat some meat, you eat a lot of fish, and you get a lot of your protein through like kefir and then supplemental protein powders.
An egg. This is the Poddy with Serene
and Pearl.
Get it right, Poddy.
All right, Poddy people, welcome back to the wild world of women. And hey, listen, whether you're just getting started or whether you're a trim, healthy tribe nerd, we're so glad you tuned in because we've cooked a pot roast of delights. Metaphorically speaking.
Anything, Danny?
It's cooked, girl.
We cooked it.
Yeah, but
we ain't cooked nothing.
I'm a part of the energetic furnace of knowledge.
Yeah,
everything cooked is we have put it on the table of our book.
Yeah.
The new book upcoming?
We're starting. All we do now is take questions.
You're not releasing another book.
Out.
You're not going to release it. When's it due? When's it due?
Some people might be listening 5 years from now. It's already been out. From Healthy Wisdom, that book that came out 5 years ago? Oh, yeah, that one was so good, right? To those in the future.
Do you have a release date?
No, because we have to finish it and we're adding more and more things.
Oh, okay. So
you can't stop us now. People are like, stop, and we're like, no. We can't. We have to put this in. What if it helps someone?
We're embracing overdue.
Hey, but guess what? We have a lot of good questions because when we originally did the protein nerd Poddy, right? And then we got so many questions about that we're going to have to do a protein nerd Poddy too, and this is it.
We're here.
I'm very affectionate to the couch. It's so funny. It's a genetic thing. Okay, see what I'm doing here?
Yeah,
I'm just, the leather feels nice, the suede.
It's very unsettling.
But when when our mom sits next to you, do you notice she does it to your arm?
She does it.
And my children, I do that to their arm. Like, I'll just be like this. And
Mom does it to furniture too.
Yeah, it's genetic. I just found myself doing it.
But that's definitely a rabbit trail, nothing to do with protein.
Yeah. Thank you for keeping us on track, Pearl. To you.
Oh, yeah. You're very welcome. That's what my role is. Serene's role is to keep us off track.
If they watch
Danny's role is to ignite Serene's ability to stay off track.
I'm visual appeal.
Oh, okay. Hey, so these are good questions. I hope we get to them all. So let's not be too long in answering them. That's hard. So here, the first one, and I'm not saying names who brought them because they were delivered to me without names. What would be the upper limit for meat protein in a meal? And then she goes on to say, does this limit apply to supplemental forms of protein as well, like optimized plant protein, essential, optimized whey? Why or why not? Okay.
Well, can I answer this question by saying the way we answer is advice.
Yeah.
It's encouragement, and it's not for you to take that information and go all protein Nazi.
Yeah, or be rulesy.
Because I never think, how many grams do I have? I think, okay, I want to at least reach 25 at a meal. But I kind of know how to do that, so it's not all a nervous energy around a meal. But I never think, I've gone 2 over. Or, I never worry about that.
Yeah, and you don't. So here's what I would like to bring for just a little contrast. What would be the upper limit for meat, protein, and meal? I don't have a specific limit, but here's what I would say. Know thy season, right? So sometimes when women get into perimenopause and postmenopausal situations and they don't have a lean body mass built, that means that they're not very good burners because it's our lean body mass that burns, and it burns protein. So not only can we not burn carbs and fats as well, we don't even burn proteins as well in that state. So if you're thinking, oh my goodness, well, I'm over 40 now. I heard a nutritionist say I need 40 grams of protein in every meal, and I'm going to get it with this big hunk of chicken thigh. I'm going to
need it. She was right, this nutritionist, but you can't use it.
Yeah, we do need more protein as we age. The problem is, especially with meat protein, sometimes women get beyond that 25 to 30, and whereas someone who's younger can easily burn it. Serene can probably burn it. She's built a lot of muscle. Maybe I can burn it now. I've been lifting for 2 years. but many people can't. It sits in their bloodstream and it comes sort of like a fuel.
Can I give you a scenario though? But don't freak out, okay? Like, oh, I'm still hungry and I don't know what to eat. Okay, so first of all, let me say that's when you've had your protein and you've hit it to like 25 or 30 and you've got
and that's
that
like
tick
4 to 6 ounces.
And then you've got your carbohydrate or your non-starchy vegetable or whatever you've ticked all the boxes and you think, oh, I'm still hungry. That's when to go crazy with the vegetables, right? The year of the vegetables, like we had a guest say, I'm doing the year of the vegetables. Add some more vegetables. But if you're at a situation, you're at a restaurant, you're at somebody's house and there's no choice but to have half another chicken breast or another sweet potato.
Yeah.
That's when I say, don't worry about the protein because still it is the hardest fuel to end up being a fuel. It's still Switzerland longer because still the body can use it for a building and repair, whereas carbohydrates or fats are ultimately fuel.
So we don't want to keep going up with carbs because we're like, oh my goodness, I had enough protein. I'm going to go eat 2 huge sweet potatoes.
Right.
So that's what she's saying. So no, we don't have an upper limit, but we do have a wise guideline to like, hey, you don't actually need more than 4 to 6 ounces of meat protein to get what you need. That's going to be sufficient.
Even if you're young, like sometimes my teenage boy, he'll go and he'll work out in our gym and he'll come down, he'll get 4 tilapia fillets and then 4 eggs and he's putting it on this huge plate. And I'm like, you're just wasting my money because basically your body can only use a certain amount, even though I don't even care if it turns to fuel for you, you want to gain weight. That's great. Well, just stick another piece of bread on your plate, stick another banana in your smoothie, because at this point, your body, at a certain point, your body kind of just, it's not going to use
his
it
mind,
as protein.
he's cranking the protein.
Yeah.
Well, why not the easy route, a scoop of the amino?
No, and the point being, you're right, but the point being is it's better to spread it out than to have so much in one sitting.
And we'll get to that. Then she says, so should there be an upper limit for meat protein? Well, we will never set one, but we will tell you to be wise, okay, that 4 to 6 ounces gives you all you need. And then the next part was, does this limit apply to supplemental forms of protein as well, like essential? Okay, so we say essential has 90 bioequivalent grams, right? And so you think 90, that's too much. But it is not, because your body knows how to use it and uptake it. It won't sit. What I'm saying is it won't sit in your body as a fuel.
So basically, besides from budget, which does make you rein it in with essential, do whatever you want. If you're a billionaire, take it with every meal.
Right. But you don't have to actually, if you've already got enough protein, you don't have to add it on. Or you don't have to take 2 scoops because it's just overkill.
No, exactly. But my point being, it will never turn to fuel.
No. How do individuals with kidney disease safely intake enough protein to prevent muscle wasting? Well, this is where our optimized proteins really come in. Like, this is where our EAA formula that we call essential can hugely shine, because when it comes to meat protein and things like that, at a certain point, it can be a little taxing on the kidneys when you go upwards to 8, 10, 14, 20 grams of, 20 ounces of this meat protein. It can be a little taxing on your kidneys, and some people with kidney disease, they can't do it. And as we get older,
but I do want to have a caveat.
Yes.
Just quickly, you're right. Those with kidney disease, once they're having these, so many ounces 4 or 5 times a day of meat protein, yes, it can be taxing. But if you don't have kidney disease,
right?
They say that meat protein within balance like that will never give you kidney
But now
disease.
they've found out that many seniors, up to half, have stage 1 or even stage 2 kidney disease. It's just a deterioration of the body. Their kidneys slow down. They have trouble. They have more trouble. So in this case, and for those with official kidney disease and those that are in aging, EAAs, free from EAAs like essential, are so wonderful. They're like a miracle for getting protein because they do not tax your kidneys. In fact, Dr. Robert Wolfe, the author of the book,
Protein?
No, not The Perfect Protein, that's Dr. Minkoff. Anyway, Dr. Robert Wolfe has written several books, but he's done so much. He's the doctor that's done most research on the EAAs. He said there is nothing that is more beneficial to kidneys than EAAs.
Yeah.
And so they've actually seen EAAs help people go and have a regression of kidney disease. And so for people who can't do protein, we all need protein. Supplementing with EAAs is just So smart.
It's so
especially
smart.
when you can't do much meat.
Yes. And just going back to the question before, it said, supplemental proteins, like essential, the question was, do you have to cap that or count?
Yeah.
I would cap the whey, and I would cap the plant. The only thing you don't cap is the
What do you mean by
essential.
cap, Serene? What are you
Well,
saying?
well,
Because
ask-
I wouldn't
ask the
use 2
question.
scoops
Ask the
of
question,
essential,
the
right?
one that was
What should be, does this limit, there be an upper limit for forms of protein?
There should be an upper limit on whey. You don't want to add 4 scoops to a smoothie.
No.
Yes, but what I'm saying is, because it will end up being a fuel. Essential is the only one that we would say, as far as the body can't handle it anymore,
Yeah.
it's causing so much ammonia, kidney damage, your body is not going to know how to use it. Your body will always be
But
able
at
to
some
put-
point, it's just a waste of money.
Exactly, but I'm just saying for danger points or
Okay.
for excess weight gain and
You
all
were
of
right.
that stuff.
Yes.
The 3 most powerful words.
I just didn't want people to think, oh, supplements, and they said like essential. I don't want them to think, well, I can do that to whey or I can do that. I
Yeah,
wanted to
yeah.
very, very clear.
Yeah. It says, what happens when you're consistently not getting enough protein? Serene, I'll throw this to you.
Well, if
I
you-
guess this is like Protein Nerd 1 repeat. They want to hear it again.
If you're consistently not getting enough protein, you are going to have to get that protein somewhere. And so what do? You start being in a catabolic state. You start eating your lean body mass to repair places. So you're actually undoing so you can repair somewhere. So if your skin needs repair or there is an injury or a wound or we need amino acids for basic organ functions. And so we actually strip it down
It
from our
pulls
muscles.
from the muscle.
Yeah. And even for
That's
exercise.
where they're stored. So your EAAs, your essential amino acids in your body are stored in your muscles.
Yeah.
And your body needs them all day and all night long. So
Yep.
you've discovered
Right.
for
Yep.
your brain, right?
Yep, yep.
So if you're not getting protein in throughout the day, and the studies show at least 4 times, 4 separate protein fuelings, your muscles are going to be
And even just
catabolized.
for walking around, for natural life, and even if you're on bed rest, just because you're a live human being. But especially if you're working out and you don't have adequate protein, you're basically working out for nothing.
So you almost-
because you're
yeah.
just going to be eating out the muscle that you just work to build. You're just going to eat it off to kind of like repair what's been going on, the damage in the gym.
What's hard to find a big muscular old man, and up for this exact reason, is there a way, like once you hit 71, I mean, is there a time or a point of no return where it's like you're doing all the right things and it's just time to be skinny and old?
No.
Well, no, because you can
Oh,
take
that's good
essential,
news.
because, these 2 doctors, the foremost experts on EAAs, they're like, that's why seniors, anyone over 55, if you have the budget, should be taking 2 servings of essential amino acids per day, because you have more need for it, because your muscles are in such a fast atrophied state.
And because you cannot digest
Yeah.
the amino acids properly from the whole food protein forms, like your body
Oh,
almost
even
has-
from eating steak
You know how
or-
you get
You don't have
insulin
as much
resistance?
enzymes.
You almost get a protein resistance.
Well, you see, when you're young, you make a lot of enzymes in your stomach and you can break down food, which
Yep.
means to
Yep.
pull out the protein
Yep.
and give it to your cells.
Right.
Well, you don't have those enzymes as you get older. I mean, they really deplete. And so the protein just sits kind of and goes through you.
So will the essential aminos, is it that they're already kind of processed
They're
so they go
already
to
broken
you?
down
Form.
into their absolute most broken down form.
Okay, so the elderly need to be up in here.
Up in the face with the essential,
and
man.
is you say 2 servings. What's
That's
2
what
servings?
those 2 doctors recommend. So
But what is it?
So 2 servings, which
It's
means
about probably 10 grams, you
yeah.
think?
Well, ours is 15 grams because there's some citrus
Yeah.
and some other
But 10
things.
grams
But
of just counting
10 is
the
1 or 2
essential
servings?
amino acids. No, 10 grams would be 1 serving.
Okay, so a 10-gram serving in the morning.
whatever
10
ours
grams-
is a full serving. You would do that twice daily.
Okay.
So that's the optimum. Now, not everyone wants to afford that because
Why do we say that though? It's like $30 or something for like a month.
Yeah, some
People
people.
go to the petrol station, they pick up a Gatorade. they
I'm
pick up-
telling you,
Yeah.
that's what I'm like.
I just don't want to sit here and say you have to have 2 servings of our product.
You have always been so kind, but to budget people, and I get that. We have all come from
Yeah.
poverty,
I never
and I
wanna
don't
forget
mean
that.
that our bellies were bloated in the streets and in the
No.
sun, right? But for an American.
Yeah,
we
we knew
all
poverty.
qualified well below the
Yeah.
poverty line. Your husbands
We
went
had
to
all
Iraq to try to pay the
lived in trailer homes at one point.
all of us.
So
me,
I mean,
me
Remember when you
too.
first came to Franklin? You know?
Yeah, we were all trailer kids and on the grind. Like I remember you were you were careful of how many trips you took into town just to buy groceries. It's like you got to buy groceries, but you still got to manage the trips.
I bounced checks to buy groceries.
Yeah.
Knew there was nothing in there. Knew I was going to pay the backlash of the bounce check.
We've stood in those food stamp lines. We, you know, and so I appreciate that. And I think one thing that I've tried to graduate into, and it's helped with the budget, is to sort of like walk and talk like somebody with money.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I'm not, that doesn't perfectly describe me. I'm not one of the wealthy people in the world by any means, but at the same time, I've been able to buy whatever the heck I want. I just often mismanage it. And I just always want to put a word out there, because there are people who hear and they say that, well, who can afford to take care of your body? And if you really look around and do an audit of your management, you'll find that you can afford to take care of your body.
Go ahead, Serene.
No, sure. Mm-hmm. Oh, over to you, Pearl. Would you like to answer the question?
No, you go.
Hey, no, it's just that we were poor. But I would ask for these things for birthdays, Christmas, you know?
Yeah, it was
and
your
then
birthday.
I always had whey protein on her Christmas list.
But I
so
also, and if we'd get like tax returns or something,
Yeah.
I'm like, darling, can I take 200 of that and just like get enough whey protein for the year?
Yeah.
And I'd be really weird about it. And I'd be like, just for you and me, darling. Because I'm
Yeah.
like, the children,
They're fine.
they can make
Yeah.
muscle from bread.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
the thing is that you don't have to buy these supplements and give them to all your growing children.
Yeah.
I mean, people, if they want to do that, that's fine. But just know that you could be in a season where your body needs this extra tool and you don't have to supply your whole family with
Right.
it.
And look,
People need to realize that.
this isn't the ideal, nor is it recommended, and it should be avoided at all costs. But I literally ate Hot Pockets and Totino's pizza rolls for every meal of every day for a decade of my life. And again, I don't think that's why I was a skinny guy either. I was already a skinny guy and was going to be a skinny guy. My grandma's a skinny girl. My grandfather's a skinny guy and my mom's skinny. I mean, but did it set me back? Did it even potentially be a foundation for my gut issues? Probably so.
Yes.
Probably so. But at the same time, the body wants to heal. And I think, like you guys always say, teens can handle.
Well, you know,
Crazy.
I make my children eat healthy food and I don't bring any sugar in the house and I make my own bread. And, you know,
Yeah.
it's cheaper that way anyway. And, you know, so many cheap foods, lentils and all of that stuff. It's great. Eggs, you know.
Eggs, babies.
But the deal is, though, when my children have jobs, I'm like, buy your own essential.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's
And
right.
the young children don't care about
That's
it.
right.
So
That's right.
it's
No, I
not
know.
that it's that expensive for just one
Especially
or two
boys
adults.
working out, trying to be all butch.
Yeah.
You know, you got to invest, little buddy.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, they try and eat my creatine and they're like 19. I'm like, buy your own.
Yeah, you're made of creatine.
So we answered what happens when you're consistently not getting enough protein. I think we answered that. You know, there's a big stigma, you know, a big thing going around. You got the protein camp and then the non-protein camp, like you can make protein from broccoli.
Oh, can I
mean-
I've got to address that.
Yeah, but can I first?
Yes.
And then you can.
Can y'all like actually fight? 'Cause
I don't know.
that'd be-
You know, we lived in the vegan world for
That's
so
what
long.
I was going to say.
And if you want to look at the vegan promoters out there, I make your own assessment. I'm just saying.
Who
There's
would
a
win?
loss of body mass.
Who would win in a fight between you two?
Serene would. I mean, I'm more puny than her.
That's not true.
No,
I think that you
cannot
could
do
different-
I couldn't beat you. Just because I'm the older sister, I could probably whip you into submission. But if it was physically, she would totally
And
beat
then
me.
what about when we're at an impasse, you don't disagree, who wins?
We
I'm sorry, you don't
disagree.
agree no matter what, who wins?
No, we have to come to an
Yeah,
agreement. We
we
can't
always-
You get
force our
through it?
nature on one
Yeah.
another.
No, but okay, but at some point arguments are won and lost. Who wins?
Both of us. We just say we
Always
respect
have
each
to
other's
win.
opinion.
Yeah, right. There's things that we still don't agree on
Yeah.
in life.
Who's the better lawyer?
We've actually both realized we've just had to the reason why we're such great friends is because we don't force ourselves
Yeah.
onto each other.
You agree to disagree, and
Yeah.
it's okay.
I think that's.
But can I
been
just
the
say
best
something
thing.
about, can we continue on this
Yeah,
vegan
rabbit
thing?
trail, my bad.
I love how you went to, Bill. People can make protein out of broccoli. I used to like
She whined it out.
I would have had that embroidered, you know. I would have sat on the couch making that and then put that in my kitchen. You know, that's what a crazy I was. Such a vegan girl. The proof was in the pudding. I worked out. I mean, I did Pilates. I did hours of exercise. I don't do hours every day now, but I did hours back then because I was a Spartan sadist. You know, I just did everything to the nth. And I'm telling you, none of my greens built. I ate my muscle off my body. I was literally bones and skinny, but I had a tummy, way more of a tummy than I had now.
It was just bloated
It was
goat
bloated
tummy.
goat roughage, you know.
Put it on a coffee
I had
mug.
like the 7 ruminating stomachs, you know.
That's the name of my next band, Bloated Goat Roughage. Ladies and gentlemen, Bloated Goat Roughage!
But no, it's so true. I mean, I believed it, but that belief didn't do anything to what was actually happening in my body. But then I turned meat eating, clean meat eating, and I went back to clean dairy, and I concentrated on protein and less exercise. I changed the style of my exercise, yes, but there was a season where I did lift on not as much protein, and I didn't get results. Remember after my last baby had all those miscarriages and stuff, and we weren't into the bolus and all that stuff, but I really was working out, and it wasn't till I started really concentrating on protein and animal protein that I really built.
Yeah. But, I have to say, meat protein, but you don't actually eat a lot of meat. You eat some meat, you eat a lot of fish, and you get a lot of your protein through like kefir and then supplemental protein powders.
And eggs.
Yeah.
I basically have meat like twice a week.
Yeah, because you just prefer the other way.
I would love to. Whenever I get meat, I eat it because I'm like, oh boy, I've got to stay more balanced. But it's just my life and the season that we're in is so busy. Eggs are quick. Salmon is quick. It's all quick.
You know what's shocking? So many people I know, twice a week would be meat of kings. Like that's a lot for a lot of ears. Probably listening right now. That sounds like a lot. People are making pastas and a lot of pasta's going down for
That's
people.
true.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll put chicken, but a lot of times it'll just be pasta and sauce, and there's no
Right.
protein.
Yeah,
in
like
it.
meat sauce, but what's in the
Yeah,
meat sauce that's
yeah.
provided in
Yeah,
the
right.
can?
Yeah.
I mean, I tend to. I think breakfast. Usually, I'm not eating meat at breakfast. I love to do oatmeal at breakfast, and then I'll have a protein powder. But occasionally I'll do eggs. Maybe weekend I love eggs for breakfast, but lunch I'm usually a tuna girl because it's so easy out of the pack and it's
So
quick.
easy.
Or sometimes I'll do canned chicken, but that's me. I'm drive-through Sue.
But I'm calling chicken meat.
Yeah. So,
Red meat's
but
probably
mostly
once
at
a
night.
2 weeks.
At night, at my evening meal, I'm always eating some sort of meat, whether it be salmon, I call that meat, or red meat or chicken.
Yeah, salmon's meat, right?
Yeah, it is meat of the sea,
Do you
I
think
guess.
red meat is the unhealthiest of meats?
No.
No, it can be
not at
very
all.
healthy. It depends upon what your
Your
body
season.
thrives
You can't
on in
eat
your
too much?
season.
No, I'm just saying if you're a menopausal woman and you're not bleeding anymore, maybe a little bit less for you because there's such anti-inflammatory properties in the salmon and the fish like that, and that's when you're getting more inflammatory. So that's probably better for your season to be
Yeah.
more focused on the fish. But say you're in your reproductive years and you're cycling
need
every
red
month,
meat.
red meats.
But there's a good balance, I think, to have it. Also, people need to be mindful of what sort of meat they're having. Like super fatty meat has a place on plan, like all the skin on the chicken and all the fat in the red meat. It has a place, but like as you get into those later pause season,
Like brisket
tunes,
every night, that's going to
it's
put weight
not
on you.
going to do well for a
Okay.
woman in postmenopause. If she's just eating her kind of full fat red meat every night, she needs to change up and bring some balance. Get some leaner
Okay.
meats in
so
there.
you can gain on brisket.
Well, just because
It's just so
fuel.
calorie dense. It's just
yeah.
so high. And then people aren't usually sticking to a 4 to 6 ounce portion. They're really brisketing down. Hey, this is a good question. Is it better to add up protein per meal or per day? Many say that we should get a certain amount of protein per day based on our body weight. Is that necessary? Is a good question, and one we're going to answer in such depth in our new book. If you were listening 5 years in our old book.
You mean Trim Healthy Wisdom,
Yeah, that one.
published
Well,
5 years ago in
just
2030.
Pearl's going to take the depth of this question, but I just want to say it's definitely something that you spread out through the day because you want your muscle synthesis to be triggered many times throughout the day. And so that is when you each time you get a 2.5 to 3 gram bolus of a protein that has lutein, 3 gram bolus of lutein in it, it will trigger muscle synthesis. Okay, so when you're young, you can trigger muscle synthesis from your insulin pathway. But when you're older, it's through the lutein pathway. So you want to make sure you're triggering that many times a day. If once you've triggered it, you triggered it. So if you have it, you have like 12 grams of lutein at one sitting. It triggered once. Why don't you break that up a little bit and trigger it
Yeah,
times.
and they did some studies which we'll present in the book. I'm not going
4
to
times.
bring them here because
In Trim Healthy Wisdom.
Yeah, in Trim Healthy Wisdom, that book.
Wisdom.
Which, you know, we put out in 20, whatever it was. And it showed, it took people that were aging, you know, over 40. I can't remember what it was, but we'll outline it there. And it gave them different amounts of protein through the day, but the same a total, but it spread it out in different times. And they found that having at least 4 was by far the better thing. So I know many people love to log their protein, and many in the macros world say, hey, 1 gram of protein for every pound. And if you're, say, 350 pounds currently, well, that's a bit too much protein. So go for your goal weight. Go for 180 or whatever you want to be. Okay, so it's fair enough. I don't hate that. But the reason I don't love it is there's something better. You could just take that 150. Let's just say your goal is 150 grams of protein. And you could have, maybe you'll have like 4 eggs and 3 pieces of sausage just at breakfast, and you'll just get 70 grams in, right?
That's
and
a
then
lot
lunch,
for breakfast.
You know, no, some people do this, and at lunch they'll just eat some fruit. No bolus there. They wasted a bunch in the morning, or they'll have or sometimes I see this. I'm on many macros groups, and they go have a smoothie and they put like 2 servings of whey in because, like, oh, you know, I'm not going to eat. I'm going to have pasta tonight.
Or
Not
they
gonna
pack
get
it
no protein.
in.
I'm going to
packing it in.
But it's a waste, like Serene says.
Yeah.
You need to get that bolus in 4 times. Don't try and pack it in once. It's a waste. So we say, is it better per meal or per day? It's far better per meal.
Yes. And there's only very few types of protein. I would say 1 that can, besides from the bolus thing, because that's across the board fat.
And should we
right
go
there.
back? When you say bolus thing, we're imagining that everyone listened to Protein Nerd Poddy number 1.
Okay.
Some people are new. Can you explain the bolus?
Bolus
Serene?
is just a size, it's just a measurement, a bolus, so a measurement, 3 grams. You just want
Of
3
what?
gram measurement, a 3 gram bolus of lutein protein, a protein that has 3 grams of lutein in it. Say it has 25 grams of protein, but 3 of those are lutein.
And it's actually 2 to 3, 3 being better.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Because that, remember, muscle synthesis once we're older is all stimulated through the lutein pathway. Now, that's fact, but let's put that aside. Most proteins, you use it, and then that's it. Your body will start. Then, if you went overboard, it will store it for fuel. There's only, and this is nerdy. You don't even need to worry about this, but there's only just one kind of protein. It's not going to do the muscle synthesis again, but it will slowly release its amino acids, so you won't store it as fuel as much, like having too much meat in one sitting, and that's casein. That's like cottage cheese. That's why you can take it before bed, and it can slowly fuel
It's the
your brain.
slower one. It won't just hit
Yeah.
and then get out. It's slow.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's some more nerdy
I'm
stuff.
just saying, if you want to overdo
Yeah.
a protein in one sitting, the only one that you really can
Yeah.
overdo that you don't have to be afraid so much as fuel is like
Yeah.
a lean cottage cheese or a casein supplement.
And then we understand, and this next question is going to come into it, this whole logging protein per day. So this woman says the EAA's Our Essential says 90 grams of bioequivalent protein. I have to log my protein, she says, for whatever reason. Maybe she's working with a coach and nutritionist, or she just wants to log, right? Do I log it as 90 or do I log it as something else? What about your whey? It actually says 16 grams of protein, but then you say bioequivalent 48. Do I log it as 16 or do I log it as 48?
Never log the bioequivalence, because that's just the miracle that's going to happen in your body, but it's actually not the grams of protein. So it'll be icing. It'll be the blessing on top, but just log the actual amount.
No, you don't log the actual amount because you don't log 16, you log complete. What's complete?
25.
25, but then you add another 5,
Sure.
right? Because we're doing the lutein pathway. So, you know, Serene and I, we had this conversation. She's kind of forgotten it, and we talked about it with our scientists. If you want to log anything like our essential, our whey, our anything optimized, just call it 30.
Yeah, that's true.
You're
No,
so
that's good.
complete. Like
Yeah.
if you're one person that, hey, I got to get my 150. How am I going to get it? I had their optimized whey. What should I log it at? Log it as 30.
Right, because it was the 25, but because you made sure there was muscle synthesis,
Yeah.
give yourself a little tap on the back with a 5, so it'll be 30.
Now, then they're like, well, why do you call it 90 bioequivalent? Because it does that much of a miraculous thing in your body. It fuels your muscles that much, and then whatever's left over, it's going to your nerves, your brain, your gut, all these other
But
things.
the reason why they have a tap and what they care about too is that they don't want, it to be too much turning to fuel, too much kidney damage, too much at one sitting. But with
meat.
Essential, you don't have to worry about that. So don't worry about the bioequivalent.
I would say since I've been on the aminos, the word is stable. I felt so much more stable, not only in like stomach, like my stomach. You know what? I shouldn't credit the aminos for this one. I stopped stomach growling like a psycho like a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And I think that's just from the gut healing and stuff. Certainly, I think the aminos are going to help that. But I would say mentally, like I never really felt like full to me, because I think I was malnourished in protein. Full to me was pressure. And there's such a cool difference in satisfied.
Mental
full.
satisfaction too.
Yes.
Like to me, it's not satisfaction from the gut. Like it's no feeling difference here. It's
Right.
that there's nothing in my body that says
Yes.
you need more.
No, it is so, like you can't underestimate how good it feels to be done eating. Like some people never feel done eating.
Yeah.
In fact, when I was spiking and crashing, not abusing dairy and fats and stuff, I would be hungry 10 minutes after I felt hurt and full. And it was, I mean,
But I do notice that, Dan, essential amino acids, they give me a satiation in the brain.
in the brain, and how that affects it's like why make a big deal about that? Well, because then like now I'm free. Like you don't even know like that now you're free to ride your bike with your kid to the park in your neighborhood, when before you would kind of stick around. You didn't know you were doing it
because
you're just going to be hungry again. You don't want to get too far away from the kitchen, and you don't know you're doing these things. You know what I mean?
Hey, Dan, did you see that post? I mean, you're not on our group, but there was a woman that listened to our Poddy, and you had said that you've been diagnosed with ADD and whatever, and you had said that taking Essential, you felt this calm, right? So she has. Did you read this? Because it also went on our public page. She has. It got like over 1,000 likes or something.
Yeah.
She has this son who's autistic, and really quite severe issues where texture he can't work on. Couldn't even walk from the bedroom to the kitchen some mornings because it was a long way and there were different textures and it was very hard for the family.
I strangely identify with that.
Yeah, and different. Not being able to eat certain things. And she's like, well, Danny said, of course, ADD is not autism. But she's like,
Right.
I don't know if this will help. But she's like, she made it something that tasted like Kool-Aid. Like we were talking about that on that one Poddy, and she gave it to her son. She said, like, she was literally almost crying in a post. She was like, my son gets up and walks to the kitchen. Oh. She said something has happened in his brain. The aminos are doing something.
Yes.
We're not having as many episodes. It's calming.
Yes.
And our product
Yes.
particularly has glycine in it, which is an excellent neuro, helper.
And that's why some people were saying, there was a post the other day saying, hey, why does Essential, and this doesn't go for most people, but some people are sensitive to it, make me sleepy. Whereas some people, it's energizing. Sleepy, it's the glycine. So if it does make you too sleepy, take it before bed and use something else after you work out.
Or take a little less and spread it out.
Yeah.
My son, Mr. D1 athlete playing football, he stopped taking it.
Was he getting sleepy?
No, he was doing 2 scoops.
Oh, okay.
Which again,
He doesn't
his body
need 2
didn't
scoops.
process it all, but I
Yeah.
think it's still heavy on the old systems. I think maybe
Well, there's a lot of glycine
it's
for
not
2
heavy,
scoops.
but it might make him tired.
it would make
It's a
him
lot of
exhausted.
glycine.
He was like, I just would be like at
that's
the
the
end
glycine.
because he didn't know. He thought if 1 scoop is good, 2 scoops is
I
better.
like taking it before bed. I love taking
But I do.
Yeah.
I'm fine taking it after workout. I don't get real sleepy or
No.
anything. But if it does
Like,
cause
you're gonna
that
go
for
to sleep
you,
anyway. I just feel like it
Yeah.
helps.
You know, a lot of the products made for ADHD kids, the calm gummies and the calming thing, amino acids. And,
There are,
and
aren't they?
except they're $100 for a month.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I mean, you guys are just like, we don't even have branding on our package. It's just a bag of amino
the most
acids.
ugliest
Take the
packaging in the
bag,
world.
but it's cheap, man.
what this is someone said, can Essential, the amino acid supplement, count as protein for a meal? It says, okay, I get it. She said there is no protein on there. Okay, so you know how Essential is broken down into its absolute purest form. So it's not actually called protein anymore. It's just the building blocks of protein, and we say, hey, it's by equivalent to 90, but Serene and I say, hey, just log it as 30.
It's like when you buy Lego at the store and it's got a picture of like a ninja house and all of that, or a ship, and you buy this ship.
You bought a ship.
But you don't, it's called Lego.
That's that's a great analogy.
It's not actually the ship you're buying. You're buying the Lego,
you
but
open
you can create a ship.
Okay, so yes, you can use it as the protein for your meal. It is actually going to be better protein. You're fine. If you don't have any other protein, you can use it. Some people, though, it's only 2 calories. If you're, let's just say, you like, I'm going to have a sweet potato, got no protein. Oh, use essential. Smart. But they're forgoing the meat. They're not getting as many calories. So that could be a reason why people feel tired too. If you're fine, you can have it as your protein for your meal. But if you've got a little protein, just take half a serving.
Do you know what I do, though, if I've got no other protein in the meal?
Yeah.
I do add 2 flat tablespoons of plain whey. Just because I just think it helps slow it down, and it helps satiate, and it helps just complete the protein into more of a food.
Yeah.
That's
because
expert
whey
then.
is a food.
But you can count it. If you're logging, count it as 30. It would take all the confusion away, right? Okay.
Can I say something?
Yep.
Sorry, I'm eating pear, but I worked out before this party.
You
and
deserve
I just
that
hit
pear.
That low blood sugar.
Yeah.
But sometimes if I'm having it in a meal, I don't take the essential with water. I take it with like a little almond milk, and then I add the 2 flat tablespoons of whey. It is so creamy, almost like an orange creamsicle, because it has the orange flavor.
Yeah.
And it really, if somebody thinks, it's a little bit watery for a meal, and it still makes it so light.
But do you know what I love to do?
So
I'm
wonderful.
so obsessed
You snort
with
it.
our Have you got our chocolate optimized whey now yet?
No.
My goodness.
I'm so happy with the amino acids.
Okay,
and you
don't need it all. You don't need it all, but I love the chocolate optimized whey with my meals now. But I just do, like if I've already got protein in my meal, like I've got a pouch of tuna. Yeah, I've got a pouch of tuna, but I'm like, I just want to get filled up further, right? So I don't need a full serving. I take 2 tablespoons, cup of almond milk, but then I think I'm going to make it extra yummy. So I do a tablespoon cacao, and I do like 2 teaspoons of gentle sweet, pinch of salt. And guess what else I do? You don't have to do this, but I'm weird. I also put a teaspoon of psyllium husk in it. So it's like this thick chocolate milk. It also gives me fiber, and I come away from my meal.
If you blend it with a couple of cubes of ice, it would be like one of those McDonald's thick shakes.
Yes, I come away from my meal so full. And do you know what I do? I start drinking it before my meal too, and it gives me this satiating effect. Okay.
Say it again.
Smart.
I know. Does it? Okay, that is something I think we're going to save for the book. Does it matter what order we eat our food in our meal? We went big into the book. Can we save some things? Okay.
Do you mean Trim Healthy Wisdom?
Yeah, that one.
Wisdom.
When in the meal is the best time to have the protein? At the beginning, middle, or end? How much does it really matter? Well, that's kind of like the question that we answer big time in the book. I'll just say.
Is that overthinking?
No, for some people, they really want to know.
But does it matter?
Some people say you have to eat veggies first. Is this big thing.
That's ridiculous.
I don't think it matters. I'm going to go on a limb, and I'm not an expert.
Guess what? Some people, it actually helps them. If it helps them get in more veggies, I say more power to you.
Oh, that's different.
Honestly, if you're not
Okay.
going to eat the veggies and having them before the meal gives you more power and gives you more veggies, I say blessings
You get
on
your
you.
veggies.
Like the people that are veggie haters and are still not something where they really embrace the delight of veggies, it almost feels like tick. Okay, now I can relax.
But there's no science behind.
No, there is actually science
Okay.
behind doing protein first. If you want to get all
Really?
sequencey and we don't, the science says GLP-1 is released when you eat protein first, not vegetables first.
And what's GLP-1?
GLP-1 is
it's the whole injection thing, but
incretin
it's the natural
hormone
one.
in your body. Incretin hormone, GIP, GLP-1, PYY,
Endogenous
CKK.
GLP-1
But what's
meaning it's a gut hormone that's released after you eat
There's
protein.
a big thing, people saying, if you eat veggies first, you release GLP-1. Vegetables, certain fermentable ones do release GLP-1, but nothing to the power of what protein releases in your
But
in your
again, I don't
body.
understand. I know I heard the medical words, but
Okay.
like, what is GLP-1?
Okay. GLP-1.
GLP. Okay.
So right now there's like protein
protein.
-1. Your body makes it, and it's an incretin hormone. Just like your body has sex hormones made in your ovaries or testes, we have insulin made in our pancreas. We have other things. Our gut makes incretin hormones. They help us with blood sugar clearance, insulin regulation. We want more GLP-1. Good thing. Very good
Satiety.
GLP-1.
They kind of help with digestion.
So some people right now are getting shots of them because they're low, so they get shots.
Suppression.
Okay.
But you can also make more of your own to a certain
Okay.
extent. And
Well,
what
then
does it is protein.
I
But
take
some
it back.
people can't to the therapeutic level. The
Yeah.
ones that need shots, and nothing they eat can put it to that level.
To not
But then
that
why
level.
not eat meat first? Might as well.
Or whatever whey is actually one of the
Whey
most
is way more.
powerful ones than meat. But
take
we're
whey
going to go
first.
into that in our book.
Yeah, so we're going to drop that right
but
now.
I'm just saying,
What are you saying?
if veggies help someone before a meal, I would never stop them, and I would never say it's not helping you.
Yeah.
Because that's their story,
No.
and it is helping them.
I think what we were trying to say is we don't want to put that rule on everybody.
No. Some
Yeah.
diets have that rule. Veggies
Yeah.
before a meal.
And how much is it worth it? 1% to eat meat first? GLP-1?
I mean,
you're
we're not
talking
saying
whey,
meat first, but
90%.
we're...
More powerful.
That's
than
okay. So it's
before
substantial.
meal.
Yeah, it's substantial. Okay, so do you count all the protein in your meal? Let me see if we've answered this. She says, question from the community. Do you count all the protein in your meal toward the protein goal, or only the official main protein that has lutein in it? Oh, I get it. Can you count little bits, say in grains, or do you only count the chicken
don't
breast?
take it. Do not count the protein in your brown rice or in your oatmeal. I don't think you should do that.
Here's what I'll
Because no
say.
macro people tell you to do that.
Here's what I'll
So
say.
you won't reach your actual goal.
Exactly. Get your goal first and your actual proteins, and then if you want to count them, glory be.
Just for your own glorious
You can
thought
go
life.
from 25 to 32, and you'll be like, I had 32 grams of protein. That's
You
fine.
can't tell your nutritionist or your workout coach that though, because what I'm trying to say is that when they say count your protein grams,
Yeah.
they're talking about.
But
your
I don't.
protein
But I don't
grams.
really care if you've got 25 and then you go up from that. That's fine. Count them if it feels good.
Yeah, but not if it slows you down and says, "Oh, well, I can't have any more because I've had enough."
That's true.
See,
It's true. Like I have Bavarian rye bread that I get from Amazon.
I never count
I
that.
don't really count that protein.
I never count the how
It
many.
has
it's in
like 2
oatmeal.
in each slice or something, but I don't count it. But
Oh,
I could if I
yeah.
wanted to, if it thrills me. That's fine. I might be able to say 34 grams of protein in my meal, and that's fine. But I just, yeah.
I get mine
Okay.
from Bavaria.
Do you?
Yeah.
I'm
it
sure
has
you
3
do.
grams.
I think we've got one last question, and it is
Uno más.
okay from Nicole. There's a name. Okay, I'm still trying to wrap my mind around optimizing and essential. My question is, I noticed a serving of the optimized strawberry whey has 16 grams of protein. Since it also has essential in it,
It doesn't have essential
No.
in it.
could that be my only protein in my meal, or do I have to add more protein to try to get 30?
Okay, so if you have the
Nicole's been-
optimized strawberry whey, you don't have to add
No.
any other protein. It's optimized to have a 3-gram bolus of lutein. It's
You
going
don't
to
need
stimulate
anything
muscle
else.
synthesis, and it's actually got, even though it's 16 grams, and you're not going to count it, it's still going to be doing miracles above that.
Yeah, so we count it as 30.
Yeah.
All I'm saying, if you want to have some other protein in your meal, then go to that half serving of your strawberry whey. Go to 2 tablespoons. Otherwise, you're just overdoing things.
Yeah, just
like
wasting
if
your
you
money.
have got a little bit of chicken, or you've got something with proper protein.
Or
Don't,
you've built
don't- yeah.
a bunch of muscle in the gym,
Yeah.
and you're at goal weight, then have that and have something
You
else, and
can.
who cares if
It
you got the money
It
for
doesn't
it.
matter, Just don't waste your money and don't overdo your protein, especially if you're still a little bit muscle mass depleted. I think that's the moral of the story
Because if
today.
your muscle mass depleted, you don't really have anywhere to put it
Yeah.
after a certain amount, after 25 grams. Like, where's it going to go?
Yeah.
You know?
Whereas with muscles, like, hey, I'm full here. That's all I can do. There was an influencer on, I don't know, probably TikTok. I'm not on TikTok, but it came from TikTok and it was on Instagram. And she was saying, and she had a lot of knowledge, but she was saying, any woman over 40 needs 40 grams of meat protein at every meal. Was she over 40? No, she wasn't. And but she was understanding this need we women have for protein.
It's true.
It's true, but she wasn't understanding that as we get older, it's harder for our bodies to extract it, and it's harder for our muscles to take it in, especially if we haven't strength trained. And she was an athlete.
So if you tell that to a secretary
Yeah.
who's 55 and sits behind a desk all day and has hardly any muscle tone, she starts eating over 40 grams of meat protein
Yeah.
every meal, she's going to gain
And
weight.
especially if it's
Wow.
fatty protein,
Yes.
lean protein, you got a much better chance. But if you start eating hunks of like I said before, like brisket or you're doing, you know, chicken with just the dark part with skin on and all of that, and you're really going for lots of it, 40 grams of stuff, you're going to have a problem as you get older. Or, you know, you can build a lot of lean body mass. It's going to be a lot easier for you. But there's all that to say. People are putting out a lot of things on the internet where they haven't lived through it. You know, I've lived through perimenopause and postmenopause. Now I know what our bodies can do. I know what a lean body mass depleted person can do. And that was me. You know, I'm building it back. I'll never be Amazon woman, but I've built so much lean body mass back. And now I can take more grams of protein. I can utilize them. I can take more carbs now.
But remember, don't think, oh, I can't have any more protein because I am that lady behind that secretary desk. So I'm going to just have a little bit more carb. No, we're not saying that. We're just saying fill up then on the non-starches.
Yeah, not that we hate carbs. We love carbs. But that 45 gram limit, you know, 40 to 45 at net, it's still wise.
Yes, we're not saying you don't have more protein, so double up on the carbs.
Yeah.
Or don't have more protein, so double up on the fats. I'm saying everything has, when you're older, even your protein has a limit, like your carbs have a limit, like your fat has a limit. But you're meant to have them all. Yeah. And you need them all.
Well, then the answer too then becomes veggies. So
veggies are essential.
You don't have to have them at the front of your meal, but have them. Have them in your meal somewhere. Let them bulk it up. It's going to bless your life so much. 46, I say. What do you say? We done?
We did it. And you made it to the end.
Who eats their cores? I do.
No, I don't eat a
pear
you eat the
core?
No, I didn't want to eat it in front of the people because that was like loud
You
and
eat the
crunchy.
pips too, the little seeds?
It's organic.
Wow, you're like a horse.
I don't like
I eat
to
everything
do-
but the stick of pears and apples.
So you were actually waiting and wanting to chomp
I
through
was
that.
desperate for it.